What's up, all you crazy gardeners? Today I just wanted to get a little bit caught up on showing you what I've been doing around here since I've been on hiatus remodeling my house, doing the bathroom and the kitchen. Now it's time to get back out in the garden because it's been heavily neglected. Been doing a lot of cleanup and taking some stuff back that's been overgrown. Still a lot that's overgrown, so I wanted to share with you. This is gonna be stepping on some toes maybe, but mostly it's stepping on my toes because I've neglected it, so I've had some issues. So I want to share with you some of the issues that I've had and how you can avoid them. But the title of this is going to be called The Shadow of the Gardener. It's something that I thought of that we need to have our presence out in the garden all the time. If you want to have something like I have, a lot of people take tours of my yard and say, I'd love to do that. I said, but are you willing to do that? Are you willing to take the time? It's not a hobby for me. For me, it's a lifestyle. It's something that I spend almost every morning out here doing. I get up early, feed the chickens, and I might go back to bed because I work nights. And I'll get up and come out here. A lot of times, hottest part of the day, like right now, it's almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Are you willing to come out here in the heat? You can go out there in the mornings or in the evenings, but it's not feasible for me as much. Sometimes it is. I'll get up and feed the chickens and stay out here for a couple hours when it's nice and cool. But I want to share with you a couple things that I'm working on right now. As you can see behind me, my sweet potato vines are taking over everything. Pathways getting encroached on. And I've been cutting back some, but I need to clear all this out right in here. I got some more sweet potato vines over there, and it's got some roselle growing up right in the middle of it. Over there, some alfalfa. It's been lasting all summer. We just had 2 inches of rain yesterday morning, about 4:30 in the morning. 2 inches was in 1 hour, so it was pretty heavy rain. So everything is refreshed, got some deep water. You can see my long gone tree. Long gone should be ready next month, usually September. It's got tons of long gons. But one thing I noticed is I got some new shoots growing on this branch that's hanging out here. And so I think after I harvest those long gons, I'm gonna probably cut the branch right here, prune it back. That way all these can grow up, so I won't have that branch hanging down. Because it's already got some branches shooting up out of it, so it's going to take off there. And there's a couple hibiscus flowers. I just planted another hibiscus that I got for a couple bucks. It was dying it, and I'm bringing it back to life. You can see the Mexican sunflower over there. It's got all those orange flowers. I've been watching the hummingbirds coming in, drinking the nectar on it. And over there's all the watermelon vines. Looks like we're starting to get some watermelons growing on them. I got a couple different varieties in here. This Mexican lime is growing up very nicely, looking very healthy right there. And it's getting some protection from the harsh sun on the southwest side. I got the Tithonia here. Papaya, almost as tall as the fence now. That's a 7-foot fence. So they're getting their trunks on them. No lilies today. The lilies have been blooming. Got to get that waterfall done. It's just been too hot. I'm gonna have a friend over to help me move the boulders into place so we can get that waterfall done. So you can see over there I had some artichoke, Jerusalem artichokes that I just tied back because they were falling over into the pond. Bamboo I was cutting back, so I had to trim some of that back. Now out here in my courtyard, I really wanted to share with you some neglect that I had. My grapevines are coming back. but they were pretty much decimated by skeletonizer, the grapevine skeletonizer caterpillars. And I knew I had a problem with them, and I just kept putting off getting the BT, which is a bacteria you spray on the leaves and they'll eat that and die. But I was getting all the birds coming in here trying to eat the caterpillars, and it's like this black moth. Matter of fact, you can see one right here. So I come out here because they'll lay eggs. They probably lay several hundred eggs on the bottom side of the leaf. So I just take some dishwater soap and spray them, and that'll kill them. So that guy's a goner. So they won't lay more eggs. But I had them flying all around here, and they were laying their eggs and multiplying, and I had parasitic wasps that were showing up and laying their eggs on them and using the caterpillars as hosts, and regular wasps coming in here taking them off it for food, and the birds coming in here and eating them. But I couldn't keep up with them because there was so many, and it was just so overgrown that the birds couldn't get in there. So I cut it way back. But you can see what the skeletonizer does to these leaves. It just takes the life out of them. So every foot of this vine, actually there's 6 vines here, it looked like that about a month ago, until I finally got some BT and I finally got the problem under control. And I was coming out here every day in the morning and killing all the flying ones that I saw, which is very few now. I've only seen 2 of them so far today, but I was killing about 20 a day because those caterpillars would grow up into the black moth. But grapevines, they are pretty vigorous. They come back. You can see all the new growth on here. So I think I've combated that problem, but that was because of neglect. I knew I had the problem, I just didn't address it. And so by the time it got too late, I pretty much wiped out my grapevine hedge. But it's coming back, and it'll look like it was probably in about 2 weeks, especially with all that rain we had. But I just harvested a huge colander of grapes. We got a few left. These are all the white grapes. Had some red grapes last month. So that's one thing you need to consider when you're growing a lot of stuff, is you always got to be out here and on top of things. It's something you need to have daily, just like people that dealt with the hornworms on the tomatoes and peppers. If you're not out there looking at those, you'll decimate your plant in 1 or 2 days. I had to trim back the neem tree because it was hanging over everything, so kind of cleaned that up a little bit. I cleaned up my Cattleya guava, the strawberry guava. I planted some living Cattleya guavas to go with it. My mangoes are just about done. I've been harvesting a few mangoes, and I got one more that's getting ripe down there. It's my last big one. So next year we should have a lot more. Still got strawberries growing here, and stevia is growing because it's in the right area of my yard. Anywhere else, then they would all be burnt up. They wouldn't have that here. So this is the area I'm focusing on now. Sugarcane. You can see the sugarcane is taller than the house, and a lot of it's getting ripe for juicing. And I just finally broke down after 3 years of saying I need to get one. I finally broke down and got a juicer coming. It's a manual, so it's not as much as the electric ones. But well, these are my muscadine grapes, the Florida grapes. These actually have 3 seeds in them, and they're not as sweet and flavorful as the European grapes that we grow. They're a little bit tougher because they're more of a tropical grape, but they're still good. A little bit tougher on the rind. I eat the seeds and all because they're pretty edible, softer. I just harvested some elderberries. Still got some more I gotta cut out of there. The sugar cane's falling over, so I'm gonna take all that sugar cane out. I just have a few of the smaller ones grow back up so I can harvest some more this fall. And I'm gonna redo the bed here, finish giving all that kale. I'll give it to the chickens so I can get this bed here ready for fall planting. Maybe get some of these Egyptian walking onions out of here. And you can see the Malabar spinach came with a vengeance. All those seeds from that one start that I had last year that took over this fence last summer, from one little start in a 2-inch pot from the Arizona Worm Farm. I grew up over that fence, and then all the berries had their seeds and just dropped everywhere. And I've been pulling a whole bunch out because they even fell in the walkway. And they're vining over on the other bed too. But I actually pulled some out and gave some to a friend of ours as a start. Vigorous vine here in Phoenix. Edible spinach, tropical. Redoing my bed here. Just planted another sweet pepper there. Banana's looking very, very nicely. It's starting to get some big leaves on it. This is the Cavendish. Is it Cavendish? No, it's Namwa. Yeah, dwarf Namwa. And there's that flowering ginger right next to what I thought I killed, which is the blackberry jam fruit, but it came back at the base, so it's going to grow there now. But you see, I planted my lemon Cattleya guavas here. Those would be about 3 years probably before I see any fruit on them. I heard they have a better flavor than the strawberry guavas. It's a different variety. It's not a true guava, but it's what they call them. And then all my gingers underneath the bamboo. Remember those shoots I showed you in the last video? Look at these. Came out of the ground. They're already as tall as me. Some of them are already 8 feet tall up there. And this one came up, and it's about 8 feet tall now. All these big shoots reaching for the sky now. Still got my avocado hanging on, my first avocado. Hopefully every year we'll get more and more, and the other Aravaipa avocados looking very healthy back there. And with all this rain we had, it'll wash all that salt deeper down into the soil so they can get refreshed with all that fresh rain. My pomegranate tree is just flowering now. Getting tons of pomegranates, and this is my favorite pomegranate. It's really sweet. It's a Russian red Slavatsky. It's full of flowers. And I've been harvesting some of those jujubes over there. Getting ready to cut it back though. It's already flowering again for the fall because it's supposed to fruit twice a year. And those are pretty small fruits on this Aunt Admire, but my Lee up front has been taken off because it was only about 2 feet tall in the spring. But you can see it's about 4 feet now. And it's got a jujube right there. A couple of them actually. And those are bigger than the Aunt Admire. And every year they'll get bigger. I gotta prune these back this winter though. It's already getting some more flowers for the fall. Those are the fruit. And I gotta take care of this sweet almond vine because all that heavy rain is falling off the house again. I got it pulled back with a stake there, but there's so much weight on there, especially when I got wet. It just started pulling away from the wall. Hate to cut it back now because it's just starting to flower. But you always got to come out here and check out what you're doing. Oh, this is something else I done. I redid my walkway, so it used to follow along in there, but I just pulled it all out, added another 18 inches of bed space, trying to reduce my pathways and get more growing area. This is lost all its leaves in the harsh sun, but it came back nicely. This is the Fuyu persimmon, and I got some pumpkin and corn growing right there. Blackberry Plant another flower there. Gotta take care of these this date palm, cut it back. Get rid of all them dates before they start popping up date shoots in the spring. These are not edible for us, but the birds will eat them. Those are very small, very little flesh. They taste like dates. I've actually tried them. They're not bad. Just not much there. My walkway overgrown. All that Yaupon holly needs to be severely pruned back. It's becoming a jungle. This walkway is getting encroached upon. Look at this. People are going to start tripping over the plants. Need to pull everything up all the sidewalk. Almost done with getting rid of my wood chips. Look at this Royal Poinciana. That rain, it got some new growth and flowering. My favorite tree, Duke. The most beautiful tree. From a 5-foot stick in the ground 3 years ago to that big old trunk. This beautiful canopy. It's only going to get more beautiful every year. Loves the heat. Over here with the guavas. They've been getting sunburned, all these white guavas. I need to actually trim this back. Got some more blackberries started here for next year. This I trimmed back and it's already got a lot of new growth popping out. Actually, it's got some guavas on it, my pink guavas. Barbados cherries flowering. Now I just planted a whole bunch of Turk's cap hibiscus here. They were figured to do very well here in dappled light, so they're only going to get morning sun. So I figured I got a good spot for them, a bare area right here. So these Turk's cap hibiscus should do very nicely here next to the mangoes. And those are edible flowers, so when these bloom next year, I'll show you how those are doing. Another pomegranate hedge. So things are doing nicely here. Just coming out here with my pruners and my saws, trying to cut back the jungle. So that's what I'm maybe working on this week. And I got some gutters coming to install for the rainwater harvest. Need to cut back this tree. I still got to hire somebody to cut this branch. It's hanging 20 feet over to my neighbor's yard. This is on the east side of my house, so they'll bring in some morning sunlight. You can see the branches I did cut, but that top one I need somebody to professionally come in here and get. It's just 30 feet up there, so it's too tall for me. Not 30 feet, maybe 20 feet. It's too tall for me. So I need to get that cut out of here. And that'll open up a lot of sunlight in here in the morning. So I can get more stuff in here. I got lots of space. Lots of space. There's always room to plant. Matter of fact, I noticed that the more things you have planted, the more things you have growing side by side, the better the soil becomes. It becomes a living soil, and all those roots add all that bacteria, mycorrhiza fungi, and microbes, which all eats all the minerals out of your soil and feeds it to your plants and your trees. Because your trees don't really take the minerals out of the soil, they take it from the life in the soil when they consume it and poo and pee it out. You need to have a process. That's why the living soil, that's why I got all the organic matter covering my soil. Actually, my organic matter is covering the dirt and creating soil. Because in this desert, we don't have soil, we have dirt. So I turn my dirt, my dead dirt, into a living soil. And that's the key to the life in our garden here in Phoenix. Hope you enjoyed, and hope you got some information out of this from what I'm doing. Hopefully it'll inspire you to do something. But just remember, it's the shadow of the gardener that brings life. You can take care of all your problems, know when to fertilize, see what problems your plants and trees are having, and you got to address it. But if you're not out there, not willing to be out there, then you won't have any success. Have a good day, guys.